Hey guys, sorry. I have to ruin my life until football is done. It's gonna be crazy. Okay, thank you for being on the call. Manage everybody. Okay, so everybody's muted. Thank you for being on the call. I just got some exciting news coming home from football. All the elite coaches and premier coaches are going to be allowed to use a Beachbody app now. So it's going to be called My Challenge. And just like we use that mobile app to sign up customers, we're actually going to be using it to run challenge groups, which means we don't need to use Facebook, which I know for a lot of coaches, groups are kind of like crazy and it takes a lot of our time and stuff like that. And this is all designed for you. Like I literally was like choking down my dinner and trying to run through this at the same time. Basically, you name your group. You put the participants in. They have to download the app. The app has actually already been approved by Apple. I didn't ask if it's only on Apple or if it's on Android and Apple. I'll have to find that out. But I would, if you guys want to be coaches, there is no limit to being in it. So I am going to open it up to only my personally sponsored coaches first, because I want to make sure I get personally sponsored coaches, and then I also want to get my customers in there too. So like I can't have a group of 50 people, but I need to start it by I think August 24th, because they actually want a whole go around, and then it's probably going to be available to you guys in the fall, which is awesome. It's all set up for you. There's a place that you can put like, you know, what you want your group to be called, what, you know, just like how you set up your Facebook groups, it's exactly like that. If you want to download a picture, you download a picture. If you want to download a video, you download a video. It's very user friendly, at least from what I see. It will automatically send messages out to your customers. So like if your customers haven't checked in, it'll be like, it'll send them a message and it'll be like, hey, you haven't checked into your app and everything. So like, hallelujah, because I kind of lose my mind with trying to keep on track of people. Your customers can keep track of like every day they log their Shakeology. So if they didn't log in their Shakeology, it might say like, hey, you didn't drink your Shakeology and stuff like that. So hallelujah. It is going to be, I think, revolutionary for us, and I just hope that it doesn't have a lot of like bugs and things like that in it, but the reason they didn't want us to do like a huge group is because this is a beta test. Things aren't perfect, and they don't want us to like go and invite 50 people, new people, and then have all these issues. So I'm actually going to stay up tonight and look at that, but that wasn't so that's exciting, and that's coming down the lane. The next thing I wanted to talk about is we have 2 weeks left, well, 10 days, to hit Success Club. You guys have been doing a great job in the clown group. It's gotten you guys out of that clown group. I would have brought clowns like 6 months ago if that was going to work, but I think things like the clown group and things like that work because it just makes it fun. And if things are fun, people are more likely to do them. And so it's been really great to talk, to see that and stuff. The thing I wanted to talk about tonight was inviting, and I actually am going to talk about that. But I watched an amazing team call by Josh Spencer. And you might not know Josh Spencer. Josh Spencer was the #1 coach in 2010. And so he has a huge organization, but you just probably don't see his name all the time anymore. But he did a great call for Christina Delgado, and I got to listen to it. And I thought it was really amazing, and it's very easy to go over, and I think it'll help. So he talked about the first thing that every successful person has is they always trace it back to personal development. They're always reading personal development every day. It's a part of their life. And it's not just in the Beachbody community. It's any kind of famous entrepreneur, successful person. They will tell you that they commit to personal development. The second thing he talked about is that so often one of the best things that he does to help his coaches when he onboards them is to really make them explain that failure is part of the job. Because so often people come into this business and, they want that quick fix, right? They want everybody to like jump on board because they love the products. But we know that we get a lot of rejection. And so one of the ways he onboards his coaches is by letting them know that failure, that no, is actually telling them that they're doing something right. Because if you're getting a no, that means you did something to get that no. It's the people who aren't getting no's. It's the people who are just kind of like, not doing anything that, are not doing anything. So failure, in a way, people saying no to you is not a bad thing, because I have to tell you, there are so many people that come back to me who had said no like a long time ago. I mean, like, I actually was talking to like one of my close friends at the at football tonight, and like she wants to be a coach, and like I think like I gave her Shakeology like 3 years ago, and she told me she hated it and she'd never drink it and all this other stuff. So I don't know where that came out of, but what I'm saying is people are going to say no, and it's not now, and you got to know it's part of this business. And then, so the third part I loved, and this is the part that I really want to spend time on. And he talked about the most important thing you can do as a coach and just as a human being is to be really self-aware. And this kind of hit home to me. And he gave, he gave 10 questions for you to think about being self-aware. So you don't need a pen or anything else like that. You just can think. So the first thing you should, when you're trying to be self-aware, is think to yourself, what am I thinking? What am I thinking all the time? The second thing is, what am I feeling? Like, am I tense all the time? Am I relaxed? Am I like sickly? Like, what am I feeling? The next thing is, how am I speaking? I know for me with my kids, when I'm in a place where like I'm kind of yelling all the time and kind of being like naggy person, that kind of is like a self-aware kind of thing to me, that I need to get myself in a better avenue, because I'm not putting myself out there in the way that I want, and something's going on. The next thing he said, what are you eating? Are you eating crap? Are you thinking about what you're eating? Are you just grabbing like cookies because you're not planning? Are you, are you really paying attention to what's going in your body? Are you just like hosing down like ice cream every night because you've just decided that it doesn't matter anymore? The next thing he said, what are you doing? What does your day look like? Are you getting things done that you wanted to get done for your business? Are you getting things done? Or are you just watching things pile up, pile up, pile up? And the next thing he said, and this is a big one for me, is how are you reacting? I know that when I don't do personal development and I am not in a good place, I am very overreactive. I actually had a problem this morning that I actually had to apologize to a coach, because I literally woke up and I saw something, and instead of like kind of like thinking about things, I kind of like jumped all over this coach, and I apologized to her because I was clearly in the wrong. So when I have those times when I'm really overreactive and I am in reactive mode, that's also kind of self-aware time for me to be like, all right, Kim, you need to check yourself and get yourself back on track. The next thing is, who are you attracting? This has really always been true for me in my business. When I am in a bad place mentally, I don't sign coaches. I don't know why. I mean, I know why, because I honestly think that the energy that emanates off of you actually attracts people. And if you are not in a good place, you're not going to attract people, and you're not going to attract the right people to you. You know, you might attract people, but they might not be the right people. Maybe they're people who are always complaining all the time. Maybe they're people who don't want to drink their Shakeology all the time. I know for me, when I'm like mentally on my game, I get great challengers. I get people who want to change their lives, and it works out amazing. The next thing is, how do you make decisions? Are you making decisions, like, are you really indecisive? Or are you just kind of like making decisions and not even thinking about them? Or are you thinking them through and like you feel confident in how you make your decisions? And then the last one of them with the next to last one was really good, is what are you hiding? Because oftentimes, especially in coaching, people hide who they are. They hide aspects about them because they think that if people know about that, they won't find them attractive, or they won't think that that's a good thing. So they constantly are posting, but yet there's a segment of them that they're hiding a lot. And then the last thing is, what patterns do you see? I know for myself, I always find myself in a pattern of going really good and then falling backwards, and then going really good and falling backwards. And so what I've actually tried to do for myself is just kind of be consistent instead of that up and down kind of thing. So that's called, you know, being self-aware. And hopefully when you think of those questions, you know, they help you kind of realign yourself. Tonight I wanted to talk about inviting. And so I wanted to talk about two things. The first thing being an inviting person, and then actual inviting. And so let's talk about just being an inviting person. And so I've looked at some people's Facebook posts, and, you know, looked at their pages and stuff. And honestly, you guys don't realize this if you're my personally sponsored coach, but if I look through your Facebook and I see something that I don't think is right, I actually kind of like, you'll get that message from me, like, how you doing? Is everything okay? Because I will notice that you're not posting. I will notice that, you know, you don't seem so chipper. I will notice that you seem to be complaining a lot more. And so that kind of like is a red flag for me as your coach, and I get in touch with you. So you can just imagine there's other people watching this. And so you always have to make sure that you're inviting. Now, it doesn't mean that everything has to be rainbows and butterflies. I mean, I shared a post today on you know, my business page about how like I was like kind of lying to people, and I was so wanted to tell people that I was pain free and I was fine and everything was good, and I realized like I was being like a complete fraud, and I just felt you know, and I just told people like, I feel bad because, and the reason I was hiding that was because I felt like, well, geez, if I tell them that I'm sick, or if I tell them like I'm really in pain, nobody's going to want to like buy from me. Nobody's going to want to, you know, join my challenge groups and stuff like that. And the response was like, no, like, hello, thank you for telling us that you're not Superwoman and things like that. So there's a time when you can explain, you know, if you're going through a rough time and how you're dealing with things. But you just got to be careful in how you do that. And then the next thing is, you know, inviting means that it's not so much when you smile on Facebook and you do a selfie. Like, I almost think that your eyes actually tell a better story than your smile a lot of times. And so if you feel uncomfortable, if you feel like, oh God, I don't know what these people are going to think of me, and you're taking a selfie, I really feel like it shows up in people's eyes, and it shows up in the tension in their face, and it shows up in a lot of other things. And so you always want to make sure that you do self-development and things like that, so you get more comfortable being inviting and stuff like that. And then so what I want you to do right now is I want you to think of somebody who just always makes people feel at ease. Like whether they walk into the room, they just make people feel at ease. They make people feel happy. I mean, I bet you can think of somebody right now in your head who that person is. And so I want you to think about that person, and I want you to think about the fact that that person is probably not perfect. That person probably doesn't have the best body. That person probably doesn't have, she doesn't, or he or she doesn't have to be the greatest dresser or whatever. And here's why. Those people are so inviting, and so, you feel comfortable with them because their focus is not on themselves, it's on you. And why that's important, because if you're focused on yourself, you really can't be inviting to people. You really can't, tell people that, I'm so interested in you, but I'm still worried about what you think about me, And so you should really take a clue. I know for myself, I'm like a huge people watcher, and I love to watch people who are just so comfortable in their element. And what I love about those people is, like, they're usually never like the prettiest person. They're never like the thinnest person. They're never like the best dressed person. They're just the most comfortable people. And they're the most comfortable people, and they do a really great job of being interested in other people. And so that's being inviting. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is inviting. And the reason I talk about this is because I was talking to Danielle and Tanya, and I was like, I really feel like I don't know how to help my coaches because I never invited. I never had to send a personal message to somebody, and I never had to say hey, have you ever decided to try Shakeology? Or I never ran my business this way. And then so they kind of pointed out that I was inviting, I just didn't call it inviting. And so let's talk about what kind of things are inviting, because there is a place where you can send a message to somebody and say, hey, I see that you've been liking my fitness posts and stuff. I run these groups. I think maybe somebody like you would be interested in it. There is a place to build that kind of part in your business. And honestly, a lot of people, that's how they build their business in the beginning. Because if you're new at this, you can put out a post like, hey, join my challenge group. But obviously, because you're new, you're not going to get the same kind of response as somebody like myself, who's been doing this for 2 years, who has had people who follow her, who has people who have watched her for 2 years. And so when people keep putting out those invitations, join my challenge group, and they're getting crickets, it's because they haven't worked on the steps that they need to do before inviting. And so think about, before you invite, is just showing interest in people. And so I send out a lot of hey girl messages, they're called. And it's kind of hey, how are you doing? And I will find something to talk to them about. I will find something about hey, I saw that your son takes karate lessons. My son keeps asking me about going to karate. What do you like about your studio? Hey, I loved your shoes. What do you do? I spend time on Facebook commenting on people's pictures a lot of times, giving people attention that way, getting to know them that way. And so if I was to send a cold invite to those people, it's not so cold, because they've kind of I've kind of thawed them out a little by kind of trying to get in touch with them and trying to stay in touch with them and stuff like that. And I know that your news feed is like really crazy sometimes. I would eliminate coaches you don't know. I would eliminate people who, you really don't feel you want to keep your coaches that are in your downline or whatever. You can actually still keep them to be as friends, but you can actually hide them in your newsfeed. So I actually hide a lot of coaches who are my Facebook friends, so I don't have to see them in my newsfeed. So it allows me a little clearer look as to who I want to kind of contact with. I just signed a new coach, Christine, who has been in my challenge groups for a while. She wanted to be a coach and then just kind of like forgot about it. And I started I started commenting on her pictures for a while. And then I sent her an actual invite and I said, look, I said, how are you doing? I just wanted to check in with you. I know the last time we spoke, you talked about wanting to be a coach. And so I'm just getting back with you because I think you'd be an amazing addition. And I didn't know where you stood on that. And that way I'm throwing it in her court. I'm not saying anything like she can say to me like, well, I'm still thinking about it, whatever. I send a lot of follow-up messages with people who haven't, especially people who have never contacted me back. I will send them a message and say, hey, Jen, I hope this message finds you well. And I always say that. I hope this message finds you well. Because you never want to send a message like, who knows, the person, God forbid, their father could have died. And you're sending this message like, you always want people to know that you're hoping like, hey, this is a good time to send a message. So I always say, hey, Jen, I hope this message finds you well. I know we were talking about the 21-day fix, and I forget where we left off. So I didn't want you to think I forgot about you. Just let me know. And so that way, I'm actually kind of turning things on that person because that person actually really never answered me. But I'm kind of saying to them like, hey, I want you to know that you're important. I want you to know that I didn't forget about you. And last time we spoke about the 21-day fix. And I have literally earned the last couple of Success Club points from doing those kind of messages. And and then the next thing about inviting is bringing new people into your circle. Because this is what I find with people. People keep talking to the same 100 people on their newsfeed. And if they haven't said, yes, I want to go with you, they probably may not. They may not. People change people can change their minds and stuff. But if you keep focusing on those 100 people and you're like, darn it, why won't you 100 people buy from me? It will kind of wear you down. And so what you need to do is you need to slowly start building people into your invitation process. Like I talked to 2 people at football tonight. I really didn't want to talk to them, but I talked to them solely because I need, as a part of my business, to build up new people. They wound up to be fabulous women, very nice. So it actually wound up to be a good idea anyway. But you have to put yourself out there. I'm an introvert. Like I can go to football practice and read a book and be perfectly happy. But that's not going to help my business. And so what I need to do is I need to put my book away and I need to walk around. I will go to the bathroom. I will go to the concession stand and I will just kind of like not hunt down people, but definitely look for positions that I can meet new people. I'm always the team mom for my kids' football. It's a pain in the butt, but it allows me, to meet all these new people. There's like 5 new moms on that football team this year. So that's another way that I can learn to be new people. And the reason why you need to do this every day is because you can't somehow on a Thursday go out and add 40 people to your network. You can't do it. But if you slowly start adding people in, if you slowly start showing interest in people, if you slowly do that every day, those people will eventually get put into a cycle. And it is a cycle, because when people meet me, that's one part of the cycle. When I start talking to them, it's another part of the cycle. When I start commenting on their pictures, that's another part of the cycle. When I get to like the inviting stage where I have a challenge group, that makes them that more likely to say yes, because think of all the exposures they've had to me before there. Whereas if you're not doing all those exposures and you're just like, bam, join my challenge group, bam, join my challenge group, bam, like, you have not done anything that makes people say like, hey, I want you. You know, like Julie shared like a text from one of her people that signed up from her and was like, hey, I just want to let you know that you're different. Because Julie has been consistently showing on her Facebook page value. And, you know, I know a lot of you do that, but Julie, if I go to Julie's page, I'm going to learn something. If I go to Julie's page, she's going to make me laugh. If I go to Julie's page, she is going to show that she cares about me. And she's going to share about who she is. That's a whole heck of a lot of value in one profile on one page. And so you need to make sure that when you go back on your Facebook, did you do that? Like for me, I love to make people laugh. That's kind of like what I love to do. And I consider that value, because I don't think there's a whole heck of a lot of people in the world making other people laugh. And so I consider that part of my value when I post on Facebook and stuff, and I make like silly faces, or, you know, kind of like lightheartedly make fun of something and things like that. I like to share how easy our Beachbody programs are. I like to show the beginning, middle, and end to doing a program. Like I'm doing the Ultimate Reset. I'm doing the Ultimate Reset for myself. I'm not even doing it like to start a challenge group, but yet people will see me every day showing what I do, how I did it, that kind of thing. People love a story. They love to see you commit to a program, see it through the program, and do it. And that's why, you know, when you change up what you do, it helps people. And it might not even help you sell that program. What it's going to help you do is sell to that person that, hey, I can do this. And so the reason I did this whole kind of discussion on inviting and how to do it is because the fall is coming up. And the fall is going to be the time of the year where you're really going to need to use your inviting skills, because just doing a challenge group may not be enough. And so we really need to practice adding people to our network. We need to practice sending those invitations, sending those, you know, hey, how are you doing? That kind of thing. To me, like, make it fun. Make it fun that somehow you need to contact 3 people on your Facebook feed or on Instagram or things like that. I know Elizabeth does she sends the individual messages to people on their birthday. That's another easy thing that you can do. You know, everybody's going to be showing pictures of their back to school pictures. So one of the things I do is I make sure that I post on everybody that I think would be a good customer for me. I post, you know, like, I hope their children have a good year at school and things like that, because people post things because they want attention. They want, you know, they're proud of it. They're proud of their kids. They're proud of whatever. And the fact that you take time out to post on their stuff means something to them. And whether you realize it or not, it develops a relationship with them. And so when you do those little things every day, it's going to help you get to Success Club 5, because it's not going to be, I got to get to Success Club 5. I got to start a challenge group and I got to do all that and I got to fill it. that's kind of like the end of the cycle when you start inviting and putting people in a challenge group. There's a lot of work, and it's called inviting and sharing, that goes into being a successful coach. So I am going to take people off of mute. So if you have a loud area, you might have to mute yourself. But does anybody have any questions about inviting or about any troubles that you have with inviting? Everybody's good invited?
Yes, I do, Kim.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I'm constantly reaching out to people. I was showing Nicole and Julie a few of the conversations that I've been having, and I'm just hitting a wall, and I just don't know how to snap out of it.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What kind of like thinking do you bring to the inviting? Like, do you think like this person's not going to answer me, or this person doesn't want to hear from me, or do you think I'm just going to note out and I'm just going to wish this person well, and like, do you release yourself from the outcome of it?
I think I psych myself out. I don't think I know. I psych myself out. Like I start good, and then I slowly just jump off the cliff.
Okay.
And I don't know how to bring myself off that ledge to be comfortable with what I'm doing.
So first you need to take out the outcome.
Okay.
The only outcome you want is that you want to send this person positive energy. That's the only outcome that you want, that you have this person's best interest at heart, and that you are hoping that whatever you send them, whether it's a message or whatever, that it's met with positivity. That's all you need to do. And it's funny because it doesn't matter whether it's sales or whatever. Like, you know, I can tell you, my husband and I are in like marriage counseling, and I am somebody who I kind of like guess what my husband's going to do, and it's always negative. And so I always go into a situation, and guess what? I get my wish, you know, and it's because I purposely set up the situation that it will happen. So just try it. You know what I mean? Like, separate yourself from, you know, whatever outcome. Like, don't worry about if they're going to say no. Don't worry about if they're going to like not answer you. Just be like, my job today is to send somebody a positive message, and I hope it meets them, it helps them, and then release it. And because I do believe that when you put negative stuff to a message, it's just energy. It really is.
Yeah.
Try it.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
I have a question, Kim.
Yeah.
When I post invites for like a challenge group on Facebook, everything like gets really quiet. Like nobody likes it. Nobody seems like I posted one today, and like it's been pretty quiet. So I don't know how to. Like it feels like people are trying to avoid the whole thing. So I don't know how to get.
What is your post usually like? What's the first sentence when you invite to a challenge group?
I posted like, because it's a 21-day fix accountability group. So I posted a picture of last night's dinner with the containers, and then I put a little message that says one of Autumn's quotes: "You can work your butt off all day, or you can work your butt off hours a day, and you can undo it in one meal if you're overeating." And then I just posted, "This was last night's dinner. Even the kids loved it. 21 Day Fix accountability group starts Monday. Who's ready? Message me for details.
Well,
And that's it. And so
I think, first of all, that most people don't know what an accountability group is. Most people
okay.
don't know. So there's a lot of lingo that we use as Beachbody coaches that most people don't know what you're talking about. And so
Okay.
when people don't connect with that, it's because they're like, what is she talking about? Like, for a long time, people thought challenge groups were like, you got into a group and you like fought against everybody, like, to lose the most weight. And that really turned people off. And so what you can do, are you in a current challenge group?
No.
Okay, that would be the first thing, is I would definitely get into an accountability group yourself so that you can share on your Facebook what that's like. You know?
Well, I'm in your general accountability group. Your general.
Okay. So, and well, that's like, and that's kind of like a coaching kind of thing. So,
Okay. Okay.
But the things that people don't realize about an accountability group is there are a bunch of women just like them, or men just like them, who have the same problems, and they get to like be themselves. They get to, like I often say, like, I can't believe, like, the girls in my group, this one lost 10 pounds, or this one lost 2 inches, or whatever. Or you can just say, like, I would not have gotten the workout in if I didn't have this group, this accountability group that keeps me going. And then you can even ask people, like, do you think, it would be helpful to you if you had a group of people kind of keeping you on track, like, create a dialogue, create a conversation so that people can, you can start to get their interest and get like a conversation going. And when you do that every day, then when you say, hey, join my accountability group, they're like, oh yeah, she shared about that like last week. Like, I think I need that. So you give them more like of a background.
Okay. Okay.
So see if that works.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Kim, I also have, sometimes I'll have previous customers, I'll text them to write comments when I post something about a group, how amazing it is, or if they've lost weight in the program, and that kind of gets it going.
That's actually an excellent idea. We should probably do that ourselves as an organization. I know that Diesel Nation does that a lot. That they will say, like, hey, today we're going to talk about, women who had babies and they lost weight. And so everybody will get on Christina's post and get it going. So you could probably do that, and say in the group, like, hey, can somebody show my post some love, and stuff like that. And, we can all help each other that way. Anybody else? So by a show of hands, does after this call, does it help you understand a little more about inviting so it's not so scary? Okay, good. Think about inviting is just getting to know people. Like, so often I feel like people say, like, nobody wants to join my challenge group. And I always say this: if you are more interested in people, it's like give and take, yin and yang.
On my keys or something.
And I can guarantee, if you focus on people and focus and put your energy and put your positivity towards people, it will come back. And look, some months are going to be harder than others. Some months are going to be really easy. Like, I had a great month in July. I think I had like 42 points. I have 11 points. That's like the lowest I've ever had. But at least I got to my goal, Success Club 10. I had some personal issues myself, but it is what it is. And I am not going to stop. And I am actually going to what I'm doing this week is kind of putting more value out there because I think I might not have been showing enough value. And I always say that when I need Success Club points, I always up the value on my page and my profile because I think the more you give, the more comes back to you. So we kept this call really long. But thank you so much for being on. And if you have any questions that you kind of forgot, just ask in the group, no problem. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.